Okay, a sign of the society is always, man, I decide when I go to found a family, when I feel ready, when my career is at a stage in which I feel now is the time. The complete absence of recognizing and considering the will of the Father, which is perfect, mild, and if you experience this, truly amazing. We all know that as a foundation, sex already has egoistic drives, desires, and fulfillment by which you want to profit. So the other person you get engaged with is just most of the times an object of pleasure. You can come out now with all these love type of stories, of course, but why are you searching for love in the first place? Then I would say sex becomes a branch of that pursuit for love. So the sex egoism in waiting to procreate, that's the message, that's the title, that's the reflection we ought to take in order to grow. Because if you take those things lightly, thinking that you can just spread your semen however you want and never be held accountable for it, and then at the end of it they have a beautiful family with a house and cars and all these objects which present a beautiful life, then you are deceived, because each action has a counter reaction in stores. And it's also about time. And if you miss God's timing for your life, and if you play too much around with one of the strongest activities human beings can, I would say, engage themselves in, you can easily be cut off from that saving grace. Romans chapter 11 verse 14. In the hope that I may somehow arouse my own people to envy and save some of them. You see, by sharing those ideas and fundamental truths, that there are a lot of people out there who have sex egoism because they wait until they build a family, because they want to pursue own interests, or they don't feel financially stable enough to enter into this thing which looks for them like an adventure to have kids. Or they feel like they have to reach a certain stage in life, otherwise they are not respectable for their kids. All this is sex egoism. You see, and the people go, when it comes to those questions, they go by the drums of the world. And the scripture says all the world lies in the hands of the wicked one, and darkness covers the earth, and gross darkness the people. So if your friend tells you, yeah, I still have time to build a family, I have no rush, then question why he tells you that. Is it because he has faith and hope in his future? Or is it because he likes to take sidetracks and choose easier roads which only look easy at the beginning but become hard at the end? If you look on examples in Hollywood, maybe guys who like Hugh Hefner, guys in that age, they still want to procreate, or George Clooney, waiting on twins to arrive to this planet Earth. I would be very careful. When you're 54, you don't have the blessing of God, and you procreate, is another story. But it is not very much suggestible to do that, out of many reasons. So in the scripture, he basically says I have the hope that I may somehow arouse my own people to envy and save some of them. So he wants to be, Apostle Paul in the Bible wants to be such a good example for his fellow believers by doing the right things and, for instance, not waiting to procreate and not having the sexual egoism when it comes to building a family and being responsible of how you spread your semen, which people you date, and so on. So he believes, I think God spoke to him in the first place, he believes that if he does it right, he can be a demonstration, that he can sting you, that he can awake you, make you awake to the reality by his good example. So we have not many good examples in this particular field when it comes to sex, sexuality. So I had to bring this up. There's a huge egoism in waiting to procreate. In Philippians chapter 3, verse 7, but whatever were gains to me, I now consider loss. You see, you might feel like, all right, this could gain me something. I wait a few years, you know, the girls don't run away. I might find the one. I don't want to settle yet. But everybody thinks like that, and I know many people, when it comes down to that question, they look around, maybe was 42, and they see everybody of that generation already have been settled, already living with their kids, doing what seems to be right. And then you feel like you're a lone wolf that has no more connection, and then loneliness, depression, all these things Satan enters with, you will attract in your life. And that's why we shouldn't have sex egoism when it comes to founding a family, procreation in general. Don't play with this. God's timing is the right timing. How do you know when this timing is? You ask, and it shall be given to you. All these vital, one-in-a-lifetime type of choices you should do by the help of somebody that says, I knew you even when you were in your mother's womb. When I formed you there, I already knew you. You were not there in the process of life making in the belly or tummy of your mom. So please, let's take that serious, take it to another level so that we can also arouse people to envy by our good decisions and by our respectable testimony. Hereby also shout out to my brother, to my good old puberty and childhood friend, Jordan. I know you still have 8 months to go until the baby comes. All the best and grow in your knowledge of a true Israelite, the Israelites from the Bible. Peace.